Are you ready, detective? It's time to put your sleuthing skills to the test as we dive into a mysterious case from the world of minute mysteries. Our first case is Fatal Error. Crowley was an eccentric and taciturn old fellow, but I liked him, remarked Fordney. When he was found dead last December, I took a personal interest in the case. Harold Bronson, his last known caller, had this to say of his visit. After leaving word at my hotel where I might be reached if wanted, I arrived at Crowley's suburban estate shortly after 5 o'clock. I found him seated in the dusk at the end of his library table. Courteously enough for him, he waved me into a chair at the other end and invited me to dine with him at 8 o'clock. Reaching for my cigarettes, I remembered that Crowley did not permit smoking. His principal contributions to our discussion were his usual nods of approval, grunts and monosyllables. Very sparing of words was Mr. Crowley. About 7 o'clock the telephone rang and he asked me to answer it. It was my wife asking me to return at once, to see an unexpected visitor. Finishing the conversation, I returned to my chair and after I explained the call, Crowley nodded assent to my request to leave immediately. On the way out, as the lights had not been turned on, I bumped my head, which explains this bruise. Just as I reached the door, he called after me, "See you tomorrow at 10. He was certainly all right when I left him shortly after 7. Although Bronson's telephone alibi was later proved sound, he had hardly finished his story before I was convinced he was implicated, concluded Fordney. So, my friend, what directed suspicion to Bronson? The foreword states that you should try to reason not as a detective, but as the criminal in the case would think. So did you manage to solve it? Would you like the answer? The professor knew it would take a keener pair of eyes than Bronson's to see a nod in the dark. The lights had not been turned on, remember? Did you solve the case, detective? Submit your report in the comments.